Hello, everyone. Hi. Look at me. Let's see if I can pin this comment. Boom. Welcome to Master Manifestors, everyone. Hello, hello, hello. Yes. Oh. Here we go. Wow, I feel like someone's auntie trying to come up here. Yes, hi everyone. We're about to bring in Courtney. Hello, hello, hello. Happy Wednesday. I'm so used to doing these on Monday that when it happens on Wednesday, now I'm just kind of like, wait, what? It's halfway through the week. Hope you guys are having a really good hump day. Let's bring in Courtney. I'm so excited. Yes.
Okay, I don't know how I did that, what I did, but here we go. Hi.
Hi.
Hi, beautiful. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing good, honey. The hair is done. The makeup is done.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. I had to get, a little dressed up for the Soul Sisters. So
Yes, honey. We love to see it. And I see the highlight. What highlight is that?
it is actually a MAC highlight from their holiday collection from last year. I will,
Oh, Mac.
yes, I'll have to let you know the name. I always forget
Honey,
it.
send me the link. I'm like one of those people when I find I'm not like an experimenting makeup girl, if you know what I mean. I'm more
Mhm.
so like when I find something that I like, I stick with it and I work with it. So I've been using Becca's Topaz for I think like 5 years.
Yes, I actually am sort of the same way now. Like before, like catch me 5, 10 years ago. Oh my gosh, like blue eyeliner, like, trying all
Yes.
kinds of cool things. But now I'm like super traditional. Like this is my highlighter, this is my concealer, my
Me.
mascara, etc.
Honey, that's the Virgo moon in me. I'm like, let's do order, let's do this, let's get that together. We love
So.
it. Yes, Courtney, well, thank you for joining us. I'm going to do our wonderful little intro for everyone who's joining us for the first time. This is Master Manifestors on Soul Sister Network. Soul Sister Network is a digital community where we focus on manifestation, healing, and connection, specifically for women of color. We love when our allies come and join us, but the narrative and the focus is definitely about our women of color tonight. So I'm so excited to have our wonderful guest, Courtney, with us. I always let our guests, right? I let our guests introduce themselves normally, but I always do like a quick tidbit on like how I know the person or how I found the person. So I feel like I found Courtney, her page, maybe like 2 or 3 years ago. I don't know if you were on some list somewhere or something, but I saw it and I was like, she seems dope. She's going to be my friend. So I followed you on my personal page years ago, never said anything, but just always loved your content, loved everything that you were doing on paper. So every time you would share something, I just felt like I was in the know. So you were always like a friend in my head, if that makes sense.
Oh.
I feel like everyone has people like that you look at them and you're like, if we knew each other, I feel like we could be cool.
Yeah, like
So
Rihanna's like my best friend in my head, for
love
instance.
it. That's me. That's me at this point with like the city girls in Young Miami. I'm like,
Yes.
I'm like, wow, the and Santana. I'm like, these are my girls. That's my dog.
Mhm.
Like, wow, I really need to hit them up this weekend so we can link. That's my energy. So long story short, I slid into the DMs, y'all. You have to shoot your professional shots every
Mhm.
now and again. And okay, and I slid in Courtney's DMs, and I always do a cute little intro call just to get the vibe of the person. They can get a vibe from me. And by the time I got off the phone with her, I was like, see, I knew we were friends. We were laughing and kickling and cackling. And I was like, I'm here for it all. So long story short, this is the wonderful Courtney Richardson. Take it away, girl. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yes, hello everyone out there. My name is Courtney Richardson, and I am a proud soul sister, and I'm so happy to be here this evening. I'm originally from California, although I'm
Love it.
based in New York. I live in Harlem. I'm originally from California, and let's see a little bit about me. I'm very much a creative. That is sort of my profession, but that didn't just sort of come out of the blue.
Mm.
So I'm originally from the Bay Area, California, and I grew up in a single parent home. So definitely a latchkey kid. So when I would come home from school, you would find me like in front of, the television watching, oh my God, I'm going to date myself, Teen Summit or like um,
I love it. Yes.
watching music videos and just sort of being enamored with entertainment. There
Wow,
was
same.
some inconsistency in my life, like we moved around a lot and all these things, but the thing that stayed consistent for me was sort of my love for creativity, my love for the arts, my love for music.
Yes.
So
What a
I
similar
definitely,
background. I love
really?
it. Yes, keep going. Yes,
Okay.
I mean we'll get into it, but I'm like, maybe that's why you're saying everything, and I'm like, are you introducing me or yourself? Like, I'm so confused. But go ahead.
And so yeah, I grew up in Cali, but I've always been a creative person. So whether it was dancing or, my mom tried to keep me busy, and not be, in other places distracted. So like, for instance, when I was young, I went to Montessori school. And I think that is really
Wow.
where sort of my creativity sort of like exploded as a child.
Yeah,
And
that's so dope.
I knew that it was something that like I loved and I wanted to do. And, a lot of my family members were like taking traditional routes. They were either like in law or medicine or, sort of like
Yep.
those hard skills. And I was
Yeah,
more
very
of like,
logical type.
exactly.
Yep.
And I was more so the black sheep, if you will.
Same.
And so in high school, I even won like most creative, at the end of the year.
Yes.
So I knew it was something that I had to like fulfill for myself.
Yes.
And so, not allowing my environment to define me, I ended up going to college, ended up working my butt off, went to grad school, got a master's in mass communications and media in DC at Howard, HU, and ended up moving to New York City for a job working in television. So the kid, coming home, 6 years old, running home after school to watch television, watch the latest music videos. And now here I am in New York City, working for a huge television network and doing digital marketing. And 10 years flew by, and then it was now pretty much. And we can kind of get into sort of that in between, but that's a little bit about me. And I'm a Taurus.
I love it. Come on. Yes. I mean, I'm a Taurus. Honestly, I should always start every interview like that. What's your sign? Like, 'cause that's normally the first thing I ask people anyway. But yes, Taurus, I love a good earth sign. I'm an Aquarius. So my moon is a Virgo though. So inside I'm an earth sign, but on the outside I'm very, airy.
Megan the Stallion.
Honey, okay. I knew she was an Aquarius. I was like, oh, she's me. But anyways, yes, love it. I can get into so many things of what you talked about, but just little side note on the parallels, also grew up in like a single family household for the most part. Always loved music. I was like this, I don't even know if the channel exists anymore, but there used to be a channel called MTV Hits back in the day. And it literally at the time, I think eventually they started playing shows and stuff, but at the time they only played music videos. So this is when I was in like elementary school. I would literally go turn on MTV Hits and watch music on a loop for 24 hours. Go to sleep, wake up, come back, watch everything on the loop. So that's kind of what started my passion for music and entertainment. And eventually it turned into media. And I remember when I was younger watching that old school show, You Want to Work for Diddy. Do you remember that?
Oh, yes. I think they had like 2 or 3 seasons.
They did. Yes. And it was everyone like trying to like interview to be his assistant and doing all these crazy things around the city. I was like, for some reason, I feel like I would be really good at that. So that's just kind of where it started. After that, I ended up having like a 5-year run in the music industry. I started at Rock Nation, and then I went over to Young Money, Cash Money, and still stayed in entertainment in a sense, but I went over to Lincoln Center for the Performing Arts. Oh, nice. Still in the arts, but definitely girl like night and day. I went from like marketing like Drake and Nicki Minaj to like marketing like jazz music, and I was like, probably not. So then I went over, and my last job was working behind the scenes on Broadway. So I've had like a little touch in everything. So I definitely understand and relate when you're talking about just always having that need to be creative and have a creative outlet. And I feel specifically manifesting in the creative space is so important because one, creative fields are so hard to get into. It's like one of those fields where like everybody and their mama want to be in it. The moment when you get in it, all of a sudden everybody mama, cousins, hairdressers, uncle want to hook up. And then you just like, wait, but do you even want to be here? Or do you
like it's my first day. Why are you flooding my inbox? I'm still trying to get my feet wet. I don't even have a business card printed out.
Me. Girl, I was an assistant at a label. I was an intern at a label at the time. And my cousin was like, yo, can you slide this to Jay? I'm like, Who? Jay-Z? I'm an intern. What are you talking about? I digress.
I appreciate the goal though. Like I appreciate the balls in that, you know?
I'm like, you know what? If nothing else, you're bold and I respect it, right?
Mm-hmm.
But so exactly. So when you were trying to get into this competitive industry and you even moved all the way from California to New York and even to the East Coast to go to Howard in essence, right? So when you made that huge first step, how did you manifest that? And is manifesting, was that something that you cognizantly like thought about, or was that a decision that you were just like, you know what, I'm going to get there by any means necessary, or is it something that you took actionable steps to get there?
Mm-hmm. I definitely think it was like the Malcolm X, like by any means necessary approach. But as far as like when manifestation sort of entered my life or when I
Mm-hmm.
like began like practicing it,
Yeah.
I think I actually started doing it without really knowing that I was doing it.
Yep.
So I can
That's when it's
explain
the
a little bit.
easiest too, because
Yeah.
when you don't think about it and then you realize, oh, that's what I'm doing, that's great. The moment you start thinking about it, you're like, okay, see, now it's not working anymore. So what's up? But
Right,
yes, let's get
right.
into it.
Yeah, so for me, like a little bit of a unique circumstance. So although I'm a Taurus, I'm actually supposed to be a Leo. So I was born
Mm.
3 months early. So I was
Wow.
born in May and my birthday is supposed to be in August. So
Oh,
I was like,
wow.
nope, nope, I'm about to manifest life. You know what I'm saying? Like I can't wait any longer.
Manifesting from the beginning. I love it.
Yes, yes. But, at that time when I was born, I was a premature baby. So I was one
Mm.
pound, 14 ounces. So
Wow.
for me, I wasn't even supposed to make it. Like the doctors were like, oh, she's going to be a vegetable. She
Mm.
won't be able to walk, talk. You know what I'm saying? Like, why are you
Mm.
even, having this
Wow.
child? And so for me, like,
Mm.
being here, like, is something that, like, I don't take lightly, right?
Mm.
Like, to think that it could have been something totally different. And I was
Wow.
able to overcome and succeed in that way and not even know it. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Like being an infant, being a child. And
Powerful from the beginning.
yes, exactly. So
Mm-hmm.
really kind of I think that in a way, subconsciously sort of shapes my appreciation for life. And,
Mm.
that might be one adversity, but like I said, I grew up in a single parent home. I grew up,
Mm-hmm.
not with a silver spoon in my mouth. And so like having those adversities definitely like when you face adversity, it's kind of like all you can do is be happy
Exactly.
at that point. You know what I'm saying? Especially if you've experienced hardship or you've experienced struggle. It's like, okay,
Mm.
I've probably experienced maybe the worst of the worst, or I've seen other people experience the worst of the worst.
Yep.
So I've been there, been the bottom of the barrel. So all I can
Yep.
do is go to the top. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So for me, as far as like
Yes.
moving and from coast to coast, it literally was just
Mm-hmm.
like, I'm going to do it, and
Yes.
I'm going to make it happen no matter what.
Mm.
No one and nothing can stop me, not even myself. A lot of times
Oh,
we
I
get
love
in
that.
our own
Yes.
way. And
Mm.
we got to move out of our way sometimes and just go for it.
Yes, honey, I had to write that down. Nothing or no one can stop me, not even myself.
Tweetable moment.
Wow. That's a tweetable moment, honey. That's going to be the quote tomorrow. I think, and we only 13 minutes in. I love it because it's so relatable. I honestly, I want us to piggyback on that. Someone fitness with Case, it's so powerful. I feel that. Yes. I also want to flag before we get too deep into this, if you guys have specific questions that you want me to ask and cover with Courtney, I don't want to miss them. So in the bottom, click the little question bubble and I'll pull it up and we'll answer them, whatever questions you have for her, or I totally here as a resource for you guys. But getting into it, because I can definitely relate to this quote. No one or nothing can stop me, not even myself. When has been a time in your journey where you felt like your biggest enemy was you?
That is a deep question.
Hello. Honey, well, I said come vulnerable, Courtney.
Right?
Hello.
The tea is hot.
Hello.
Wow. I don't know if I have a specific instance that comes to mind, but
Mm-hmm.
I think coming from struggle, coming from adverse situations,
Mm-hmm.
there are times where you want to control outcomes. You
Whew.
want to control the scenario.
Girl.
And as I've gotten older, I've learned to let go and sort of pick my battles.
Mm.
Um, So I think, and there have been many times where I've stood in my own way, you know what I'm saying? Where I've been my own, worst enemy, whether it
Wow.
was, beating up on myself, or, you know what
Yep.
I'm saying? Like, not feeling the most confident,
Mm.
I always am so admired by people who are like super confident, which is something that
Mm-hmm.
I feel is a journey. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Oh, without a doubt.
we don't just pop up on earth like, yeah, like
I
it
got
takes
this.
work,
Mm-hmm. Especially
Um,
when you come from situations where you feel like you faced a lot of adversity, because I feel
mhm.
like it could just be me, but based on like some of the things I've gone through, I feel like it makes me question my value, question like what I bring to the room, and then imposter syndrome is like at a high of high, right? Sometimes
Mhm.
I feel like as women of color, like when I first got into big rooms, I got there and I was like, honestly, I'm just so blessed to be here. Let me not say anything. Let me not shake the table because it's a blessing that I'm here.
Mhm.
When now that I've, traveled through my journey a little bit more, I'm like, wow, it's a blessing that I'm here. And because I'm one of the few Black people in the room, I have to use my voice. Like I don't
Mhm.
have the privilege of not using it.
Right.
So I feel that, but confidence, like you said, it definitely is a journey.
Yeah. Yeah. And something you just said that's really interesting is that you said, it's a blessing for you to be in those rooms and things like that.
Mm,
But also
mm-hmm.
they're blessed to have you. You know what I'm saying?
Right. And that's the confidence thing. It's like, wow, like I'm blessed to be here. It's like, no,
Mhm.
sis, like you bring something to the table. Like, why
Right.
is it so hard sometimes, especially as women of color, to
Mhm.
say like, oh no, I bring this to the table
Mhm.
because I'm a boss
Yep.
and it's okay that I know I'm a boss. Like, why do I
Yep.
have to come in and feel like I have to be validated by people or build up or work up the confidence to do certain things, you
Yes.
know?
Absolutely. And also not saying I'm sorry, like just saying I apologize, I
Mm-hmm.
think is huge, especially as
Wow.
professional women of color.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry is an excuse, and
Ooh.
it's an excuse for the weak. And you are not weak. I am not weak. And so
Mm.
always saying I apologize, if, or my bad.
Wow.
I love my bad. You can't go wrong with a my bad.
My
Um,
bad.
but like, taking that sort of verbiage, that language out of your vocabulary, I think is so
Yes.
important, because you were never and never will be a sorry individual. You know what I'm saying? We
Never.
all have a
I
purpose on this
love
earth.
that because also a thing about manifestation is there's so much power in your tongue.
Yep.
So if you, and especially if you say like I'm, right? I'm is basically like, not to get too, religious in here, but it is what it is. They basically say God's name is I am. So like
Mm.
really I'm calling on God when I say I am sorry or I am tired or like I'm exhausted or like, you know, anything that you say negative, it's basically kind of like you're speaking it into existence.
Right.
So even the term like saying I'm sorry in general is like a thing, but to go based on like things that we say in the workplace, it's kind of like what? When I was in college, I can't remember the article, but they did a study about how many times women in emails use the word just, and it's like a
Mm.
filler word. And at the time I was like, is it such a bad thing that I say just all the time? But now it kind of is like along the lines of I'm sorry. It's like
Yes.
I'm padding stuff like, hey, just checking in because I just want to make sure that like everything is just. And after I like started reading my emails, I was like, why is it like, why do you feel like you have to clarify why you're doing your job? I'm not just
Mm.
reaching out to you to do something like,
Right.
what's up? Like, I need
Like,
this by whatever. Like,
deadline. Where's
hello, I'm a boss. Yeah. Like,
the
white men don't email me and say, hey, can you like just checking
sorry to bother
in?
you,
Sorry to bother you. Sorry for the inconvenience. They'd be like, girl, I
Mm.
need this by 5.
Right.
And they'll be 5 years behind you. And you're thinking, where do you get this confidence from? Like, what?
Mm-hmm.
What?
Mm-hmm. Just ask.
Hmm. Yes, yes. And we already have a question that came through. Oh, honey, and they came with a question. I'm curious what you have to say about it. JB Analyst, I think that's how you say it, 23, said, how do you balance or challenge toxic energy in your life? That's a good one.
Mm.
That's a good one. You want to take that first?
Yeah, sure. I think for me, I love my space.
Mm,
And that could be, you know what I'm saying? Like, I wasn't an only child. I do have siblings. But I think sort of being like the creative in my family, like,
mm-hmm.
I kind of had my own lane. So for me, if I'm feeling that people are bringing toxic energy to my space, like I have no problem just like not shutting down, but just sort of dimming, you know what I'm
Love
saying?
it.
And
Yep.
taking the time for myself to check in with myself and make sure like that energy isn't inflicting too much damage. And of course, it depends on like what type of energy, you know, that person is bringing to the table, and what the situation is. And if it's internal toxicity that I'm bringing to myself, whether it's, you know,
That's a good
overthinking
point. Yep.
something, or, you know what I'm saying, like doubting myself or having second thoughts on something. I'm very big on writing. So, and I'm talking classic writing, like a notebook and a pen, like not using my
Yes.
phone to engage, but I'll write my feelings out. And it's very cathartic for me to do that. So that's how I kind of deal with toxicity. And like, honestly, if someone isn't providing what I need, because like a lot of times we think like relationships should be linear when there should be transactional, right? Like I support
Yeah.
you, you support me, like I'm my sister's keeper, I'm my brother's
Yes.
keeper.
Yeah.
If that isn't there for me, then I have no problem just putting that to the side and keeping it pushing.
Yes, I love it. Yes, someone said, yes, script it out with an old school notebook and pen. I love it. That is me. That is my energy. It's so much strength. I love that you focused on what it's like to balance toxic energy in your life when it's coming from you.
Yeah.
Because I feel like a lot of the times it's easy nowadays to say, you know, if someone's giving you toxic energy, you cut them out, you shut it down, you like set up a boundary. Everyone's talking about boundaries now, which I love because a good healthy boundary is key, especially for me. I did not have a boundary. But now, you know, a cute healthy boundary is good. But it's like for me, I struggled personally with setting up a boundary with myself because it's like you're with yourself all the time. So how do you balance those negative thoughts that come in a situation? Like you said, the first thing you said was overthinking me to a T, trying to figure out and try to like control everything. And I love that you said you write everything down. For me, writing things down, like you said, puts everything into perspective. And it also, like, you know, when you manifest, writing stuff down is like another way to manifest certain things. Like it could be like manifesting getting rid of something or manifesting bringing something to you. So writing works for me. For anyone out there who's trying to figure out like how to deal with this themselves, writing works for me, but I'm a big talker. So a strategy that I got recently, because I do love writing, but because I'm a talker, I noticed that, you know, they say when you're going through stuff, sometimes you can vent about it to friends and family, but sometimes it's not good to like stir the pot. But for me, I realized I feel like a big release when I actually say it out loud. So I've said this suggestion on the channel before, but I'll leave myself like voice memos in my phone and like talk through my emotions. And it seems kind of crazy, but it just makes me feel, I put in my AirPods and it gives me that feeling like I'm on the phone talking to someone, but nobody's responding. So it sounds kind of crazy. But once you try it the first time, actually it's like, wow, this is like really cathartic. I can get this off my chest. And then sometimes when you say it out loud, you realize how crazy you sound. You know what I mean? Like, especially if you go back and listen, you're like, did I really say that, like, just because I didn't get this one job, I'm like a failure in life? Like, is that what I think of myself? You know?
Right. When you hear it back, you're like, wait, I would
Yes, and you're
never
like,
speak to my friend that way. You know what I'm
exactly,
saying?
exactly. So it's like, if that's how I talk to my, like, if that's not how I talk to my best friend, why am I talking to myself like that? But yes, thank you so much for that question. Okay, I'm going to get into it. The real reason why we're here is to talk about a top to bottom moment where you have manifested something that, you know, maybe that was like really beautiful, or something that like you didn't think you were going to manifest, or something that kind of like came in at the 11th hour and was like, oh, okay. So what's one experience, highs, lows, good, bad, that you manifested top to bottom? Take us through it. We want the tea. We want everything in between.
So there's so many things. One I kind of touched on, which is sort of coming out of adversity, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And being accomplished and, on paper and finding success in that and still
Yep.
growing in that, of course, right? So I'm very proud that I've been able to manifest that and not be, a product of circumstance. But something that, an example that's more tangible, I would have to say, would be actually like starting a few years ago, starting my own agency. At the time, Do It for the Brand, where, I worked with and represented women of color, particularly Black women. And brands. So working within beauty and lifestyle from a PR and creative and marketing standpoint. And for me, that came from really sort of being in the corporate world and, having the 9-to-5, if you will, and not seeing that demographic being targeted, being addressed, being nurtured, seeing all of these dollars going towards other groups of people. And women of color, specifically Black women, being ignored. And we all know, we love to spend money here and there on particular things.
Yes, we do.
Yeah, and it could be really a lot of different things, from like even, Black women and Afrofuturism and sci-fi and comics. Like there's so many different things, so many different interests that we have. And I wasn't seeing that being catered to.
Yeah,
and so,
that representation.
And that matters,
It does.
I was like, I'm going to do this, and make it happen. And I was scared, you know what I'm saying, to take that leap. I live in New York City, and it's not the cheapest city in the world, as I'm sure our soul sisters know. It ain't. So
it's not.
I took that leap of faith because my passion for Black women and sharing their stories, and there's no reason why they can't be in Vogue or in big name media publications. Like they're just as good or even better than other business owners or brands. And so I took that leap, and if I hadn't, you know what I'm saying, I wouldn't have been able to actually, one, say I did it, right? But two, to really see like what's possible for me. And really kind of, and I say this a lot, but I really do mean it, like it really sort of solidified my purpose. And my purpose for me, Courtney's purpose, is to be a voice for the voiceless, and so by having my own agency and representing, these amazing people who had great stories and brands, I can say, wow, like I can hold the weight really of all these amazing women on my shoulders, just like those before me did. So starting my own business is something that I'm so happy that I manifested and did.
Yes, first off, shout out to you for finding a lane, sticking to it, finding your purpose and committing to it, because it is not easy, especially as a woman of color. So I feel like my first question for you is, how long was the time between when you had the idea of launching something of your own and to when you birthed it? Like, I know sometimes people get an idea and they're like, I'm about to do this tomorrow. But I know there is another set of people who get an idea and it sits with you and you have to go through the fear and the nervousness and the jitters. So how long did it take you to birth Do It for the Brand?
I think that's a really good question. I feel like it was somehow always there. It wasn't fleshed out. It didn't have a name, but it wasn't like at the forefront of my mind. You know what I'm saying? Like I was young, I was in corporate America. I was trying to sort of build my resume and my career. And it actually was a setback that actually allowed me to really kind of give Do It for the Brand a chance. I worked at a company, and they had a hub in the US where we represented PR and marketing for this really big international brand that everyone probably knows. But they actually consolidated their business. And so they closed the US office. And it was totally out of our control, just the six of us women, PRs, you know what I'm saying? Like doing our thing in New York and representing. And they're based in Canada. So we weren't Canadian citizens or, US citizens. So we couldn't move for work. So it was like, oh, wow. Like for me at first, it was like, what did I do? What did I think? I felt sort of like a failure a little bit, like, but I had to kind of tell myself, like, this is out of your control. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is a setback for, you know, a setup, right? And I
Wow.
was like, wow, like I have this passion and I want to represent women. I want to represent my sisters, my people. And so as far as timeline, like I want to say a few months actually, like really kind of
Yeah.
building out the vision, building out the name, building out a team and kind of looking at how, you know, I was going to approach things. And it literally was sort of reaching out to people and saying,
Yes.
hi, this is, you know, my agency, this is what I've done, this is what I can do for you. And like that, like I was able to people trusted trusted
Yes.
me with, you know, putting their businesses forward, putting their stories forward and representing them. So although it was very scary, very fearful, I had to be fearless in that. You know what I mean?
Wow. Yes. First off, I can unpack like so many things that you just said. I love that you talked about this setup coming after a setback.
Mhm.
And I think that is ringing so true for so many people right now, especially like 2020 has been, you know, a setback for so many different people for so many different reasons. And I can definitely attest to, I'm definitely in a season of, I won't say a setback, but for like a rebuild up, right? I'm in a area right now where I'm like rebuilding my foundation to figure out what's next. So what you're saying is ringing so true to me. And it's funny, again, the parallels, because when I launched Soul Sister Network, really it was at the top of 2020 after I lost my 9 to 5 job. And at the time, it was this baby that I had always had in my head. And I was like, I feel like people will like it, but honestly, maybe not. I don't know if there's space for me. There are so many other brands or other people that are doing this thing. So I'm curious, before you launched, did you have a moment where you were like, okay, there's so many other people that are doing this. Like there are so many other people who are already in this space. Like, did you have any self-doubt when you went into it?
A little bit, but I think for me it was more motivation.
Love it.
And looking at people who were already established as sort of role models, and
Yep.
now they're best friends of mine, you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So kind of looking at their trajectory, how they, you know what I'm saying, walked their journey, and really kind
Yes.
of being humble in that, and taking notes and not allowing that to dissuade me from my purpose and my goal, my destination. So instead of like turning the other cheek and looking the other way and not paying attention to what other people are doing, I was actually I welcomed it with open arms, you know what I'm
Yes.
saying? And
Wow.
that
I
helped to
love that.
prepare me to be in an industry where, yeah, there are other women of color who represent women of color. But for me,
Yep.
I feel like there's space for all of us and we're all unique and different.
Yes.
And so my lane was my lane, you know?
Let me tell you something. We love it. We love a queen with a goal and a laser focus. That's
Mm-hmm.
definitely something that I'm learning about you through this conversation. I feel like you are one of those women that when you see something, you want something, you laser focus on it and it's done to the
Mm-hmm.
races, which is so many other women I feel like I've met in the industry, because you kind of have to, if that's not a skill that you have naturally, it's definitely something that you have to develop if
Mm-hmm.
you want to have any longevity in entertainment. So for anybody who's out there who's also like on the brink of like launching something of your own or trying to get into a creative industry, take this wonderful advice from
Yes.
Courtney.
Do it.
Laser
Do
focus,
it.
baby.
Do
Do
it. Like,
it.
let me tell you, I'm the type of person where, especially as a creative, like I have to get
Mm-hmm.
it out. Like I can't let it fester, especially if I have an
Yep.
idea. Yeah, I'll let it bake. You know what I'm saying? I'll let it marinate. I'll put some
Yep.
season on there. You know what I'm saying? Some adobo, some
Hook it
Lori's.
up the top, not the
Yes.
Lowry's. Yes.
And you know, but I have to serve it to people, right?
Yes.
I have to have it be a 3-course meal and dish it out to folks.
Yes, baby.
Yeah, so there was no way I could have just sat on it without like giving it to the world. And you know what I'm
Yes.
saying? The fact that I like acted upon that, like quite an amazing experience. And now, you
That's the
know,
power. That's
do
the
it for the
power right
brand
there.
is
Yes.
amazing. Amazing story in time with
Yes.
that.
Yes, girl, I'm feeling all of this. I'm curious, like, when you, because you were mentioning having people that were role models of yours and now they're your friends. So when you were building your own brand, was there anyone in particular? It could be people that you haven't even necessarily manifested a connection with them yet, but was there anyone you were looking at and you were like, oh, this is it. I love it. I love what she's about. I love what she's doing.
There are a long list of amazing people. And we don't have that much time. We don't have, the entire evening for me to lay out everyone.
Right? Yes.
But you got me thinking. I think I'm going to spend the night just writing that list out of everyone and sort of honoring them in that way.
Yes. Because it's power. Like, even that, just before I forget, like, if for anybody out there who is trying to manifest something, a big thing that I'm learning is it really is a balance of like giving and receiving. Not that you necessarily want to give with the intention of receiving something, but that's just like the law of nature. The more you give, the more you receive. It's been proven. So it's like, if there's ever a time where you want to bring something into your life, it wouldn't hurt to start by giving people their flowers. So when you find someone who's inspiring you, write down the list of the people, find a way to give them their roses while they can get them. That's so beautiful. I honestly think I'm going to do the same thing tonight. Write down the list of the women who have like inspired me along my journey and like, do a cute little reach out or connect or talk, or at minimum do a cute prayer and meditation for them and send love and light their way. So granted, I don't have Oprah's number yet, but
it's coming. It's coming.
Yes, it is. Mama Oprah, if you're tuning in, hey girl.
She's an Aquarius too, right?
Girl, you better know it. 2 days before mine.
Hey.
Her, J. Cole, Ellen DeGeneres. I got a little list in my head of people that I'm like, the moment I meet them, I'm gonna be like, we're Aquariuses, right? They're gonna be like, girl, you and half the world, bye.
Right?
Yes. So what's one thing, if you feel comfortable sharing, that you're in the process of manifesting, or like you've been trying to manifest for like a while and it hasn't happened yet, but you're going through the motions, if you feel comfortable sharing?
Yeah, but to answer your question before that really quickly, one name comes to mind. Renee Blewett. She is the creator of She Did That, which is a documentary on Netflix.
I love her. I watched that documentary. I shot my shot in the DMs, not gonna lie, but she responded. She didn't have any availability, but she's gonna be up here soon. You watch, girl.
She's amazing.
I love her, everything she's about. Like, watching She Did That for the first time, I was like, wow, she did that.
Literally.
Okay, I was like, oh, I'm here for it all. But yes, Renee, get into it. What about her inspired you? What about her like really, took your manifesting to like the next level?
Yeah, I think from afar, and this is me sort of building Do It for the brand and what it's going to be. I feel like Renee she has this grace about her, this amazing spirit, but also this hustle, this grind mentality that I really respect. And she's just such a kind heart, It's so funny that I actually, I'm not last year, oh my goodness, time is flying. But when I was starting Do It for the brand, I actually was at an industry event. And someone asked me, what are you currently doing? I was like, oh, I'm building this, blah, blah, blah. And they totally like shooed me to the side. I was like, okay, noted. And a couple months ago, they slid in my inbox, wanting a couple of favors, if you will, to work with paper.
Isn't that always how it works? I'm like, okay. No, I mean, you said noted. What was your reaction when they reached out? Were you like,
I was like, oh, wow.
Look at the wheel of life, girl. Come around.
So, I think Renee treats everyone with kindness, no matter where they are in their journey and who they are. So I really respect that about her, for sure.
Yes, honey. This is a Renee Stan account. So if she happens to stumble upon this, girl, we love you. And if you guys haven't watched She Did That, it's still on Netflix, right?
I think so.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Alyssa JF said people shoo you to the side so quick. Oh God, never mind. This I can't finish reading it because it went up. But I updated my phone right before this, and now the IG live looks completely different. So I'm over here like, what?
It's
I
like
feel
a
like
new
someone.
interface.
I feel like someone's auntie. I'm like, oh, okay. Um, but oh God, what was the question I just asked?
Oh, if I want to share, what am I manifesting? What's coming
Yes,
up?
yes,
Yeah.
yes. So do you want to
Okay.
share? Are we ready to get into it?
So one is super top secret. I cannot share, unfortunately.
Love it. Love it.
But that's great. Once I'm able to share,
When it
you soul sisters will
manifests,
be the first
then
when it
we'll be
manifests.
like, there we
Yeah.
go. What's up, baby?
You heard it here first. Soul Sister
Okay.
Network.
With the exclusive, they're gonna be like, Soul Sister Network, what? Oh my God. Next thing you know, we're on the map. I'm gonna be like, yeah, we had the
It's just like
exclusive.
DJ Flex bombs are dropping the whole time. Like, okay. Yeah,
They're gonna
if
be
you're
like,
from
girl,
New
what?
York, you know what that means. But as far as something I want to manifest, I want to manifest. Oh, it's my dream to work with Issa Rae. Um, that could be creative directing,
Yes.
a project, creative directing a shoot, or just kicking it. Issa Rae is like
Yes.
everything. Like she's like one of my creative idols,
Everything.
you know.
Oh,
And
for sure, honey. What a good choice. I
I've
mean,
been
not that you're
following her
asking me for my
forever.
opinion, but great taste.
Chef's kiss. Um, but Issa's amazing, and I want to manifest somehow working with her, in some
Yes.
capacity.
Oh, you will. I can already feel it. I'm already sending all that energy your way, girl. And when you do, you'll be like, that's funny because Kanique told me this was going to happen. For whatever reason, I feel like Kanique needs to be here right now. Let me also go and grab Kanique so she can.
I'm done. I cannot. Plus one.
Plus one, Kanique from Soul Sister Network. Issa, have you ever heard of her? I love it. Okay. So you said you've been on Issa for a while. Were you on her like with Awkward Black Girl?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Love it. I came on to Awkward Black Girl a little late in the game. I was abroad at the time. I was studying abroad in London, and one of my friends was like, "You have to watch the show," and I was like, "Oh, all right." And I watched it, and I was like, "How is she so effing funny?"
Yeah.
And then by the time Insecure came out, I was like, she's getting all the flowers that she deserves.
Absolutely.
What was the show it wasn't the Golden Globes. What was the award show that, was it the Emmys that just happened recently?
Yeah.
Okay, the Emmys, that's what I'm thinking of. And I was like, Schitt's Creek is funny. I'm not gonna hold you. But I also was like, okay. I was hoping they walked away with at least a couple.
Yeah, they just got one. But
just
they're
one.
first. There's a first time for everything, right? So you plant
Every
that seed,
time.
and that just means that they're gonna have a tree just full of Emmys one day. So don't worry
Yes,
about
they will. Yes, they will, honey. I am manifesting that for them. Wow. Like they should be on this live receiving all of this good manifesting energy, don't you think?
Yes. Somebody.
Yes,
Holler at
somebody,
them.
anybody holler at me, call me. So manifesting, all that good stuff. We talked about it. You said that in your journal, and you set your eyes on something and you get it and you receive it. How do you deal with manifestations when what you think should happen doesn't necessarily happen?
And
Has
that
there ever been
happens
a
a lot.
time, right?
Yeah, that happens a lot, especially in the entertainment industry, especially in media, especially in the creative field. You could build something or have an idea and it's not executed. The first draft is not the final draft. So it happens all the time. And because you are in that type of field, I, like myself, like it becomes ingrained in you to kind of accept and kind of go with the flow. Now it's not easy, right? Because I talked a little bit about control earlier. So kind of letting off the gas pedal, I think, is super important.
Wow,
and
I love that.
Kind of embracing it more as not a negative, but more as like a challenge. Like, how can I embrace this and figure it out? Like, be more solution oriented rather than like negative about it, right? So it may not necessarily mean it's a dead end. Maybe there's another route to take when it comes to something not panning out the way you expected or the way you thought. So it's really about how you kind of perceive and how you look at it.
Yes. Let me tell you something. I feel that. And like you said, I've had so many moments where it's like sometimes when you're manifesting something and you feel it so strong, you're like, oh, this is for me, honey. This is going to be the project. This is
Yep.
going to be the assignment. This is what's going to get me that promotion. This is what's going to get me that like man or that woman, like whatever it might be. I'm like, this is it, honey. I feel it. And then it doesn't happen. And I'm like, like, how do I deal with those emotions? Like, how do I process being let down but still being hopeful? So when you
Right,
have
right.
those moments when you're learning how to like let your foot off the gas and go with the flow, how do you heal through those
Mhm.
moments? Like what helps you along your journey?
So for me, it's really important to feel it. So if I'm feeling,
Mm,
especially if I'm really
mm-hmm.
passionate about something, it's important to feel it. So
Yeah.
if I need to cry, if I need to laugh, if I need to, you know what I'm saying? Whatever it is,
Yes.
I feel
Giving,
it.
yep, giving yourself permission to feel it because
Right.
sometimes you want to suppress it. I
Hmm.
love that.
Absolutely. And so as far as things I do to kind of decompress that and sort of unpack
Mm-hmm.
that once I've felt those emotions, um, I actually got a pair of rollerblades the other day.
Yes, that has been on my list all summer.
Oh my God, really?
I keep seeing people, like wonderful, beautiful black women just like
Hmm.
skating all over the place on
Hmm.
Instagram. And I'm like, I need a pair of roller skates. I need a pair of roller skates. I need them. I have so much inspiration right now.
Target,
Yes.
Target,
It's like,
good deals.
Target. What color are they? I'm curious.
Target, mine are black and pink.
Love it. Love it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
So
so
have you
really,
already?
I'm breaking them in now. I started breaking them in my apartment. I'm not gonna lie because I did not want to bust my face open in Harlem and be
Girl,
laughed at.
right? Girl,
Yeah,
because they will laugh.
yeah. They
That's one
well
thing about New
Harlem.
York. They'll be like, girl, if you
If you don't get out of here with your broken kneecap and your rollerblades, like please just like limping off to the side.
New York people are ruthless.
Yeah, ruthless. No, but gotta love them. No, but I think for me, it's about like getting that energy out, right? So I mentioned
Hmm.
earlier, I grew up dancing, so like
Yes.
having movement and feeling and those type of things like allow me to um,
Yes.
sort of just let my energy go and like not
Mm.
really dwell on what I cannot change.
Yes.
So
Wow.
so whether it's a budget, sometimes budgets get cut in the entertainment industry or a
Hmm.
project you're working on or a
Yep.
shoot and things like that. And so you can't really let that phase you. And again, I told you, like, when you face adversity, like, it's kind of like it can't get any worse than that. Uh, so it's important to
Actually.
keep a smile on your face after you felt what you felt, like cry, you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Eat that pint of ice cream, do what you have to do.
Yes.
But get up and know that it won't stay that way.
Yes, I love that, honey. This is some great advice. I hope you guys heard that. I'm repeating it, if just in case you missed it. The first one was feel it. Give yourself permission to feel it. Go through the motions. It's okay. It's natural. I completely can relate to that. I feel like when I was the most resistant to feeling stuff, it never worked out in my favor ever.
Mm,
Because eventually you're gonna have to feel it. So it's
yeah.
like don't prolong it. Feel it, go through the motions. That's first. Second, finding some type of creative outlet
Hmm.
and like getting out the emotion, whether that be like rollerblading, whether that be dancing. For mine, for a while, mine was dancing. I was going to have you ever heard of banana skirt in the
Yeah.
city?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Girl, I was going to, well, first off, I was also trying to get my body right. So I was like, why not dance and get my body right? So I
Mm,
was going to Banana Skirt like 4 times a week. And I was like, that was when I was the most aligned. I was it having that creative outlet, just being able to like learn a Beyonce routine, work out, go home and go to sleep. Love it.
yeah.
So find a creative outlet. And then third, keep a smile on your face. I love it. Live for it. Cause like when you're faced with adversity, the thing is, most of the time it's out of your control,
Hmm.
right? And even if something was in your control and you didn't necessarily handle it the right way, once the cards have been dealt, they're just already dealt. So it's
Yeah.
no reason to like cry over spilled milk. So the only thing you can really do to move forward is by fixing your attitude and by focusing on something else.
Hmm.
That's a little bit more productive. So I love that. What? Let me tell you something, honey. You gave me some jewels. And you also gave me some tea, Courtney. I am here for all of it. And I looked at the clock and I'm like, it's already 8:50.
What?
Right. I'm like, dang, like this went so quick. So I don't know what's making me want to ask you this question, but I'm gonna ask it. So for a last question, if you could go back and talk to like latchkey kid Courtney, let's say you're 8 years old, right? Wherever you were at 8, if you could go back and give her some advice, what would it be?
Definitely sort of live out loud. Don't hold back. Don't sit in the back seat. Get in the driver's seat
Yes.
and go. It's so important just to go for it. You have an idea, you have dreams, you have goals, like do it. Like do it. Like you don't want to live with the regret of not trying and putting something out there. You know, it could even be, you know, your love life or
Yes.
breaking up with someone. Maybe you have a toxic relationship with someone and letting that go. But sort of leaning in and saying yes and being fearless in that, I think is so important. Like live out loud, get from, you know, in the back seat, get in the driver's seat and go. Do it.
Yes, I love that. Get in the driver's seat and go. I've heard a lot of variations of that, but what I like about get in the driver's seat and go is, one, when you get in the driver's seat, you know that you're in control, right? So that's the first thing. And when you're in the driver's seat, you're steering. You're the person setting the tone. Right. You're the person setting the speed. You're the person setting the direction. So it's so much power in that. I love that. Get in the driver's seat and go.
But not even that. Like you can roll down your window, you know what I'm saying? Have the breeze
so
blow through your hair. You can crank up, you know what I'm saying? Your favorite bops, you know what I'm saying? So like there's so much in that. Like you can recline a little bit. You can put on cruise control. So, you know, if anyone's watching this and has been holding back or, you know, been indecisive and like, should I not? Please, I'm begging you, I'm pleading, like, please just do it.
Yeah, because like 2 years ago, if you would have waited to launch Do It for the brand, like who knows what would have, you know, not transpired if you wouldn't have taken that leap, right? So I feel like this is such a beautiful conversation for anybody who currently is in the midst of trying to launch something of their own, whether that be like an actual business of your own or just like an idea that you want to promote at work, or finding the courage to talk to somebody that you want to talk to on a romantic level, anything. I love that. Get in the driver's seat and go. I am here for it all. This is such a good talk. I needed this myself. Like, I feel like especially with 2020, it's not it, girl, it's just so much. We ain't even got to get into it. It's just so much. I'm not even gonna lie, I'm so ready for November 4th, so it can feel like less of a burden with everything that's going on right now, this whole election, just 2020 being 2020. I'm like, this is such a good reminder for anybody out there who is in either a plateau or an area where you feel like, you know what, I don't really have the strength to do this, or I don't really know if I can do this. You can, you will. And if you're here at this time watching this, of all days, at all hours, you're here watching this for a reason. So take this as a sign for anyone who is trying to manifest something. You can do it. Look at Courtney, honey. She isn't going to run down her whole resume, but I will, honey. She is creative director at Paper, has her own brand, launch it. Go to her page directly. If you guys don't follow Courtney, please do, because when you go to her page and see the things that she's like birthed into the world, the projects that she's been a part of, even her like coming and spending her time with us tonight, it just speaks to the type of person that you are. So I'm so excited to have had the opportunity for us to talk, for us to chat. This has been dope. And I'm so glad that I got this wisdom. I'm so glad we were able to share this wisdom with other ladies. And I hope you enjoyed yourself and had a good time.
I did. I can't wait. Next time we gotta have like a jam, play some Mary J. Blige or something.
Let me tell you something. We also have a Soul Sister Network playlist that I'm not even gonna hold you. I put it together. It is popping. It's high vibe soul music, and I got some music Soul Child. I got Mary J. Blige. I got a little bit of Daniel Caesar. I got some her. I got some Kiana Lede. Like, what you want, I got it. So the link is in the bio for that. But as we head off, like, tell us how people can keep in touch with you, what next we can expect from you, all that good stuff.
Yeah, most definitely. So, to all the soul sisters and soul brothers out there who are watching, you can connect with me on Instagram. It's actually my favorite social platform so far. So, my Instagram handle is at Do It For The Brand. I'm also on Twitter. And I love speaking to people in my DMs. So, I'm really big on mentoring. I've been like super busy the past few months, but I'm looking to get back into that and providing any type of guidance for anyone. But as far as projects that are coming up, I can't reveal anything, unfortunately, but something really
Hello.
cool is coming down the pipeline. So if you follow me, you can, keep up with the adventures and what that is. But I'm really excited and looking forward to it. And I'm actually very excited, happy, and overall blessed to have had the opportunity to be here. Like, I think honestly,
Yes.
this has been the highlight of my week. I've had quite a
I
week
love that.
thus
Thank you.
far. And this definitely was the cherry on top. So thank you so much, Kanique, for not only
Yes,
having
thank
me, but putting
you.
this network together. Like, this is so dope.
Yes, baby. We're building it. We are building it brick by brick. And I'm so excited to have you on board. From anyone who is coming from Courtney's side, if you're not following Soul Sister Network, definitely follow us. We have wonderful chats like this once a week. And we also have workshops and events that are all catered towards manifesting. Our next workshop actually is our first workshop that's open to everyone. All of our other events have been exclusively for women of color, but enough people asked me this time to where I was like, you know what? Let's open it up for everyone. And it's all about manifesting the money and
Hey, getting the
manifesting the
bag.
moolah. Honey, once I learned how to manifest money, my whole life changed. So if there's anybody out there who has some resistance, or if what you're trying to manifest and focus on and get in the driver's seat is your finances, join us. Tickets are in Soul Sister Network's bio. And on that note, Courtney, thank you again for being incredible and fantastic. And I'm going to have to talk to you about that mentoring thing, girl. So I'm going to have to slide into your DMs again because I'm here for
Hey.
all of the advice. I loved all of this chit-chatting, girl time, girl hour. Yes.
Yes, ladies' night. I'm
Yes.
done. Thank you so
I'm with
much.
yes, yes. I'm sending you so much love. Thank you guys so much for joining us. If you need anything from me or Courtney, slide into the DMs. We both will answer. Okay?
Yes, and we're out.
Yes, we are out. Bye, y'all. Have a good night.